Well, apparently I'm live right now, according to YouTube. How's it going, everybody? Hope everybody out there is having a good morning, even though it's not morning, more in the North Pacific. We have 12, actually just clicked over to 1 p.m. It's exactly 1 p.m. Pacific time, and it is currently just about 20 degrees Celsius, 50% humidity rate on the button. I just gave some really nice B&B guests a garden tour here. They're actually from the Big Island. They're from Victoria, in a very nice microclimate they live in. I sent them home with some palm trees. Super sweet people, and they're right into exotic plants. They were here for a week. They stayed at our accommodation. We have two accommodations here, and they stayed at one of them for a week. And we just had people check out in the other accommodation, which makes it better for me. There's nobody on the internet, so we should have an uninterrupted Palmcast today. I'm just eating my blue creamsicle. Probably bad for me, but it sure tastes good. I just got in from a ride a little while ago too. I go for my early morning Sunday ride, and it's quite quiet in town. I stopped off at the local grocery store, and they had a lot of yuccas for sale. Yucca filamentosa, the variegated ones. So after waiting in a big line to get into the store, because of what's going on, everybody has to wait in lines and everybody has to be spaced apart. I did what I had to do. I came out, I looked at the plant rack, and I noticed some plants that I wanted, which were the yuccas. So I grabbed a couple of the yuccas, and I went back to wait in the line, and I'm waiting in the line for about 5 minutes, and the lineup was horrendous to get into the store. I said, no, another time. It was 2 for $7. Really good price for these yucca filamentosa, the variegated ones. So if I go back later, I got to go through town, and the lineup isn't so big. I'm going to pop in. I'm going to grab a couple of those yuccas. So if you're in there, folks, jump in and say hi. I better eat this creamsicle before it melts. And leave your comments. We know there's one person in there. We see one person is definitely in there. Don't be afraid to jump in and leave your 2 bits worth. And if you're a troll, well, we have a moderator here, and he's going to nuke you. You will be gone. So no trolls allowed on here. Just palmy people and, well, anybody else that's nice and wants to join in on the chat. So beautiful day, not a cloud in the sky. It is Sunday. And you know what next weekend is? It's a long weekend, which is a good thing. I love long weekends. Okay, done. Sorry about that. Later on today, I have to go visit someone's garden. I think they want us to see their palm trees and the rest of their garden. They moved here from Ontario. I think this might be their second or third summer here, and they're into palm. They went down to the field-grown palm nursery on the south end. There's a guy on the south end of our island that has a nursery, and people grow Christmas trees, they field grow them, and then you go in there and you cut down a Christmas tree. Well, this guy has a field grown palm nursery, and you can go in there and he will dig the palms for you. And well, they're pretty heavy. He's got a tractor. You got to dig them out by hand, and then he'll move them from there and put them in your truck or vehicle with his tractor bucket. So they dug out 2 by hand, and they're looking pretty good. I think they have about 4 feet of trunk on each one, and that's what they had on them last year when I saw them. So I'll shoot a video when I'm down there today, and we'll see how big they are. I think it was around 4 feet of trunk on them, something like that, if I remember correctly. They were Chinese windmill palms, and quite a few of his palms, I sold them. They're locally grown, and they've picked up a couple of truckloads from me over the years. And he's got them in rows. I think he's probably got about 300 of them down there, and I think he planted maybe 15 years ago max, and irrigated. I don't know if the irrigation's working anymore, kind of on a sunny south slope, sandy slope. They seem to be doing quite well. So hope everybody's gardens are flourishing out there, and hope everybody's having a great Sunday. I doubt that you're in church today. I mean, there are no churches open here because of, what's going on. The churches have been closed. So this is my church out here, outside. This is my church right here. I don't need to be in a building. I'm into the Mother Nature thing, so that's my church. Hope everybody's having great weather. Man, summer's coming to an end pretty quick, isn't it? It sure goes fast, doesn't it? It is, what is it, the 30th of August today? It is the 30th of August today. Tomorrow's August 31st. The summer went fast, don't you think? I hope winter goes as fast as summer goes. I'm not much of a winter person, although I do appreciate the rainfall. I got some pretty stressed out looking plants from the dry weather here. There was one in particular, a big palm tree that Wendy's son and I transplanted to our garden here in June. I think it was 2018. Somebody called me up and said, Joe, we got a palm tree that needs to be removed. It was in town at the condo complex, growing underneath a big Japanese maple. It was a tricky palm to get out because the maple roots were going all through the palm roots, and I had to knock off a few of those maple roots. Couldn't get a giant root ball with the palm tree, yada, 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 and end up pulling well, I hooked a rope up to the palm tree and hooked it up to my truck. And as we got most of the palm tree dug out, I kind of pulled on it a bit with my truck, which probably didn't do it any justice. We finally got the palm out, put it in the truck. It's got 10 feet of trunk on it at the time, and very stressed. It never really recovered that well. And at this time of the year, it absolutely looks terrible because of the dryness. I cannot keep the H2O to it enough. So Wendy says, why don't you cut some of those fronds off? So yesterday, she shot a video of me cutting some of the fronds off. Generally, I do not like to cut off green fronds unless you're going to transplant a palm to relieve some of the stress. So at the time of transplanting, I did cut off quite a few fronds, but maybe I should have cut off more. So I cut off another 7 fronds yesterday. You can see the video on Gulf Island Rock, Wendy's YouTube channel. So there's not a lot of fronds on top of that palm tree trunk right now. It does look kind of hokey, and hopefully it will recover. I find once the winter rains come, it really does actually start to look a lot better because it's getting moisture into the ground. And right now, seriously, I cannot water it enough. It still looks like the fronds are the fingers of the fronds are tightened up, like it's lacking H2O. And another bad thing, it's growing right beside a giant Douglas fir tree that we're going to hopefully get cut down this winter. There's a 120 foot tall plus Douglas fir tree growing right beside it. Big tree. So we're going to get that whacked. I'm going to be busy bucking it up with a chainsaw and splitting more wood for our wood stove. That's how we heat our house in the wintertime, is with wood heat. And wood heat is actually a really nice heat. I see we're 7 minutes into this live stream. You know, it's a nice day, and I'm sure a lot of people are outside, out and about, maybe at the beach, maybe in your garden, doing things. So that's okay. If you're not in here, I can ramble on for a bit more before I pull the plug. And I think today, you know, we'll try an hour live stream seems about right. And a lot of times when one person jumps in, it's kind of like this chain reaction. More people jump in. I see there's 3 people that are viewing this right now. I call those sandy baggers, right? They're kind of on the side watching me flap my gums and spew my my palmy nonsense, which could probably be a good thing sometimes. So anyway, like I say, jump in. Don't be afraid. If you're watching, anybody can jump in and leave your comments here. Maybe I'll type something too. We'll just put there we go. Aloha. How's that? So anyway, I went for my motorbike ride. I went down to Beachside like I do, and I had my 1 cup of small dark roast coffee. That's all I need is 1 cup of coffee, and I'm pretty much bouncing off the walls. So only in the morning can drink a coffee, and that's the only time I do it is a Saturday and a Sunday at Beachside Coffee. I go down there. Super nice people. He said, Joe, if there's no parking for your bike out front, pull it right into where the table is and park it right there. And I said, I can't do that, but I could park it off the side by the fence. So that's the owner, Jay, and of course, Anna Banana. Super nice people, and they got their daughter working there. I think that's their son, one of the other kids, and just a really good bunch of people that work at Beachside. If you're ever on Salt Spring Island, go grab a coffee at Beachside. They have good cookies in there that Anna makes too, super healthy. And you can sit on the street side and kind of people watch people go back and forth, the tourists, or you can sit on the beach side, on the other side, and watch people take their kayaks out, or just watch the sparkling diamonds shining off the ocean. It's a really nice location in Ganges. And I do like the early morning. I'm a morning person, and I'm usually in bed pretty early. So I get up early every day. I enjoy the sunrise in the mornings, and I enjoy going downtown early in the morning on a weekend for a motorcycle ride and just having that cup of Java. And what I got to do after this, I'm going to have to do some watering. The B&B guests have checked out, and I was happy to send them home with some palm seedlings. I sent them home with, I don't know, maybe a dozen palm seedlings. She lives in an apartment down in James Bay. She's going to put them in pots. And she moved here, like I say, from Ontario last year and really loves palm trees. So I gave her the dirt on palm trees, and now she's more aware of the palm trees that are growing on our Pacific coast. So once you tell people about palm trees that aren't aware of them, they're always looking out for palm trees. I'm always looking out for palm trees. I don't know about you guys. When I'm driving around, I always got one eye on the road and one eye on gardens. And that's the way it's always been for me. I'm always keeping my eye out for frondy friends, right? I can see a palm tree in most inconspicuous places of people's gardens and maybe even hiding behind bushes. You can see the fronds sticking out. And I know most people on this island, so they don't really have a problem of with me taking pictures of their gardens. Dreamy eyes first, white with dreamy eyes. Hello. Oh, I got to check out your video, Dave. Sorry, I got so caught up and busy yesterday doing things that I didn't check out your Lytton video. I got to check out your Lytton video. So the gal came to pick up the Sugar Skull bike today. Wendy got rid of her beautiful Electra Retro Cruiser bicycle today. And my friend Sugar Scully and her mom came, really nice girl, Megan McFarlane, and her handle, we like to call her, is Sugar Scully, because she likes sugar skulls, and she's got even some sugar skulls tattooed on her. So she's got her Sugar Skull bike. I'm going to check that out right after this live stream, and then I'm going to get down and I'm going to water some stuff. I did water out back today. I probably have to water the vegetable garden. We got another, well, it's been a long stretch of dry weather, and I'm not seeing any break in this weather for a while. You know, once we get locked into this high pressure system on Salt Spring Island and the Southern Gulf Islands, it stays. So you can go months without rain. Although, like I say, we did have a dribble of rain this month, which was good. Well, it lasted, and I didn't have to water the garden for a couple of days. That helps us out. So I always look forward to the rainy season because I can roll up the hose and don't have to water till spring. So that's coming up soon enough. And I'm hoping the weather's nice when we head over to the far west coast. I'm delivering a sign to a surf shop. I don't know if you saw the video I uploaded here. This one here, and you make a lot of them out of driftwood. This one here, I'll move this out of the way. I was down at the beach on Friday, and there was this 2x6. Obviously, it's been floating around in the ocean for a long time, and I thought this would be the perfect surf to make a surf sign. So I just grabbed my chainsaw and I ripped through it. So we got the pineapple on it, and then we put surf. So it's all done with a chainsaw, and I did them a little tiki face with surf below it. And that surf shop used to have one of my tikis. It was a tiki totem, and when the surf shop sold, I think the owner took it because it disappeared, but it was out there for quite a few years. So this one is heading to Tofino in October, and that will be in front of the surf shop. So stay tuned for a video of this driftwood folk art tiki sign. Do I have to hit that? I think I actually have to hit that with the chainsaw a little bit too. I'm going to improve that out a little bit more. But anyway, what do you think? That is folk art, and my tikis are very simple. There's nothing fancy schmancy about them. That's my own style of tiki, and I know some guys make some fancy ones, which is pretty awesome, but mine is very simple tiki style. So they can put that in front of their surf shop, and I have other ones in Tofino as well, in front of Big Daddy's Fish Fry, and there are some in private gardens. Great channels, like the live chats. Hey Bob, good to have you in there, buddy. Always nice to see all of you good people in there. If you're a troll, you guys can leave. I know there's no trolls in here right now. We always know when there's a troll in there because trolls are very negative, usually very negative. And we did have a few of them trolling on this channel, and which is very rare. You know what I mean? Because I try to keep a positive outlook on life, and most of the stuff upload here is positive, except a few broken windows in town, litter bugs that hang out in the park. Rustic tiki is best. I agree. I like rustic stuff. Yeah. And yes, that really is one of my eyes. Right on. You're a good guy, Dave. I can't wait to see you and your family again. Rustic tiki, yeah. And Bob, that's like our garden too. There's no square edges in our garden. It's very wild and I always say natural. Nothing in any real particular order. You know what I mean? So it makes it very low maintenance. There's a lot of windy paths and different levels, and you're not going to see any. Like I say, square edges. Lots of rock line, windy gardens. Yeah, come again. It's awesome to have you guys here. And like I say, the B&B guest just checked out. We had two sets, and where you stayed, Dave, when you were here at the tiny house, and then some down below, and they were there for a week. Really nice people. This is the first time. Well, actually, I met her one time. She came to the door. She wanted hi, Jane, aloha. She wanted the password to the to the internet when she first checked in. So Michael and Michelle, they live in James Bay on the Big Island in Victoria, and I sent them home with a dozen palm seedlings. Jane, how is everything in Hawaii? Hope everything is okay there. Things are doing very well on our island here in the North Pacific. It is around 20 degrees Celsius and 50% humidity. Currently 1:14 p.m. Pacific time here on the Gulf Islands. Well, that's good to hear, Jane. Hope all is well. And I think about you. And one day when I'm there, we will definitely eyeball. We will definitely meet. Eyeball meaning we will see each other, because one day we'll be back in Waikiki, and we will see you. There's a few things I really miss about Waikiki: the Cheesecake Factory, because I like my banana cheesecake, Leonard's Bakery, because I like the malasadas, and I like the Hawaiian lunch plate at Rainbow Diner. And I also like Murakami Udon Noodle on Kuhio. I really like it. But more lockdown. Yeah, we don't have any of that here, Jane. No lockdowns here. Everybody's playing it safe. Even the gal and her mom that came to pick up Wendy's bike this morning. Wendy sold her Sugar Skull electric cruiser bike, and you see a lot of cruiser bikes on our island too, and they actually came in with masks on, which was pretty cool. Part is people aren't allowed to go. Wow, we have community gardens here. We have one down in the Burgoyne Valley, down in the Fulford Valley. There's a big community garden, which is about I guess probably 15 miles, 16 miles south of here. And then there's one on Kanaka Road. At the end of Kanaka Road, there's a community garden, and there's people in there all the time. And that's actually on our park land. You know, I work for the Parks Department, and well, some of the gardens are absolutely amazing. They have tiny little plots. I don't know what they pay. I don't know if it's $40 a year or something, and they grow some pretty amazing vegetables. I just bought a black pine. Japanese black pine is a beautiful tree. I used to work for a Japanese guy when I lived on the mainland near Vancouver. And years ago, we created this Japanese garden for him with his help. He helped us. And it was rocks and these pine trees we planted in there. And there were some black pines. And he had them twisted up with wires and stuff. They were like this giant bonsai. They were pretty amazing. And I like those ones. In my eyes, this, yeah. Wonder. Well, they say a plane came in just not that long ago, Dave, into Victoria Airport, and somebody on the plane had it, and they said if you're between this seats and these rows, you better get checked. And that's not good. What are planes doing coming in with that from Ontario and Quebec? And they're not checking them. Japanese black pines grow very well. I'm amazed. Japanese black pine. Yeah, I think they were Japanese black pine or maybe red pine, but they were Japanese pines. He was from the island of Kyushu in Japan. And he also had Japanese maple in his back garden, but he had rocks strategically placed in his garden and lots of moss. And he had these pines to be planted, and he would be out there when they got bigger, and he had them wired down and pruned. And that's what they remind me of, these big bonsai pines. We have a Japanese garden in town, and the Japanese gardens are beautiful. They have pine trees in there, lots of pine trees. They have heavenly bamboo. They have lots of Acer palmatum, the Japanese maples, and they also have southern magnolia, a big southern magnolia, and bamboo, lots of bamboo. They have vivax and a palm tree that I planted, a trachycarpus, years ago. Talking about palms, Bob, I was watching your vid regarding the expanding cell laying down. Would that work? Path to keep. I bet you it would. That's called GeoGrid. And yeah, we're building the island pathway there that week because we look after the pass and we build some of them here. So the other two guys I work with were working heavily on that. And I only worked on it for a couple of days, but I helped expand those GeoGrids. And the stuff we're putting in there is crushed rock on top of the shot rock. And I bet you it would. So that's called GeoGrid. Look for it. And comes in a big flat, and you actually cut it with a saw, and then it expands out like an accordion, and it does keep stuff from sloughing off. I'm so sick of it. 7 billion people will not. I know, Dave. I'm with you, man. There's a lot of people that do not like rules, do not obey signs. Trachycarpus blends in well. It does, Jane. Hey, Jane, tell me something. Have you ever seen a Trachycarpus palm on Oahu? I've been to Oahu 20 times, and I've never ever seen a Trachycarpus palm tree. I'm always looking for them. They're not in Lion Arboretum because I asked Ray Baker about it, the palm expert there many years ago. I've never seen them in Foster's Garden. I doubt they're in Cocoa Crater. Have you ever seen a Trachycarpus palm? Will it grow on Oahu? I was told they won't. Dave, oh well, I won't keep. Yeah, no, it's all right. I mean, it's around, it's everywhere around us, so just stay safe. That's all you can do. No Trachycarpus. Yeah, I think it is. Well, I was told, and that's what Ray Baker told me. It's too warm, too tropical. And Trachycarpus palms do not like that constant heat all the time. Here, I guess maybe we have that chilling effect in the wintertime. They absolutely love the Pacific coast of Canada. You see the nicest and most beautiful Trachycarpus palms in coastal Washington state, Oregon, Northern California, and well, except the ones in the windy areas on the far west coast. They get battered a bit by the wind. I mean, they'll survive no problem, but they get a bit of windburn on the fronds. But here they're absolutely flawless. I'm going to go to Tofino on the west coast in October, so I'll shoot some videos. I know of some nice Trachycarpus palms there. There's a really big one that was planted in 1948, and it is tall. It's got over 30 feet of trunk on it, and it grows beside an old house. And then there's some nice ones that grow beside an old church in the town of Tofino. So stay tuned for some videos there. Wendy just uploaded a video this morning of me trimming one of our taller Trachycarpus palms because it is very stressed out and not getting enough water, and is one we transplanted here a couple years ago. Hydrangea macrophylla don't do well. You know what? You're right. Hydrangea macrophylla do very well at the Kula Lavender Farms up country on Maui, and I shot a video of it. It's here, and the nicest hydrangea I've seen macrophylla were actually at the Kula Lavender Farms in Kula. And they have this botanical garden there too, and they were massive. The flowers on those hydrangeas were, and they were flawless. So, oh, thanks, Dave. Thanks for watching Wendy's channel. She likes that. She likes when people watch her channel, and I push her to upload videos. You got to get more videos on there, Wendy. Get more videos. But she's really busy. She's doing her art, and now she's doing the room down below. The people checked out. They were there for a week. So now she's cleaning before the next check-in and sterilizing, and then she's got to go to the tiny house where you stayed, and she's got to do that as well. So, and you know, it's, you got to go up and down those stairs to get to the little bedroom upstairs there in the loft. So it's a little bit more work to clean the tiny house upstairs. Downstairs not too bad, but upstairs a little bit of a pain in the hiney. But these people, like I say, were this super sweet people. You know, you meet some really nice people owning an accommodation, and right now it's peak season, and it's been very busy. It's been booked out solid, and the wintertime, it slows down, thank goodness. But there are still people here that stay in the wintertime at our accommodation. We've had people in January, February, and then we shut it down because of you know what. And then she opened back up beginning of July. And then from July on, it's been just booked out solid. No beer today. I had a bit too Lytton. 30 C heat. Yeah, I might have one later on. We'll see. Do you know of Rosa gigantea? Hey, Jane, I like that name, gigantea. This means it's a big flower, right? Or is it just a big plant? Rosa gigantea. Wow. That's like Chuskia gigantea. Chuskia, it's the bamboo gigantea. Usually when it's gigantea, it's something big, right? Hey, Jules. There is Jules. There's my friend Jules over in the Big Smoke in Vancouver, my birthplace, and Dave's birthplace, and a lot of other people's birthplace. But I moved away from Vancouver in 1968. In late 1968, when I was 4.5 years old, I moved away from Vancouver and I moved to Lulu Island. That's what we called it back then. We called it Lulu Island. You know what? They call it Richmond now. It's been called Richmond for a long time. So I moved to Richmond. Mom and Dad bought a little hobby farm and lived there for quite a few years, for just about a decade, and moved farther out into the valley, moved out to South Langley and lived there for quite a few years. And now we're on the Gulf Islands. Rosa gigantea, big 5. No way, Jane. You're kidding. Subtropical, hardy to zone 8. Well, then it's going to work here because we are zone 9A. Occasionally we fall into the high end of zone 8B, but it's been a long time. Dave, you're just a young fella. 68. I got 4 years on you, buddy. 4 years. Wendy's 59. Yeah, 68. 68 was a good year. 68 was a good year. That's for sure. And I remember it. You know, I do remember 68, and I do remember a lot of hippies too. A lot of real hippies back then. Now there's a lot of wannabe hippies. Yeah, you're just a kid. 97. Jules, my oldest son was born in 91. My daughter was born in 94. Oldest son born in February 91. Daughter born beginning of April 94. And my youngest son was born in middle of July 2000. So you're just a young guy. We'll kill it to the ground. Any hard freeze. Okay. Jane, I'm going to have to check that out. Rosa gigantea. If it's different and if it's subtropical or exotic and it's got half a chance that it will work in our garden, we're going to try it. So our Fiscus gularia bicolor is going to bloom. one of our Chilean bromeliads has red on it. I uploaded a video yesterday. You can see it. I thought it sent out a spike, and I was informed by a friend that's visited my garden on one of the comments. He says the flower's kind of inside on that one, which is cool. So we've got this beautiful red on this hardy bromeliad, and I planted those, one of them before the 2008 freeze, and it survived. Hungarian are good people. My sister-in-law was Hungarian. She made a good goulash and ham roll. It needs a greenhouse to do well. Okay. Well, our climate here might be similar to the UK, but I think we get more heat units than the UK. Winters are mild, but I think on Salt Spring Island we definitely get more heat units and more sunshine than the UK. So we're well over 2,000 hours of sunshine annually here, and more heat units, and definitely more heat units in the valleys here than here. My wife's Hungarian. Yeah, that's right. My ex sister-in-law, she was her last name was Horvath, and her maiden name, and she was Hungarian, and she made an amazing ham roll. Hungarians are good people. There was a bad hurricane in Louis. Yeah, I know. I saw it on the news. It's been all over the news. It was a category 4, and then some people died in was it Texas? Hit southern Texas and in Louisiana. It's one thing we don't get here, but every so often you get the storm of the century, or every half a century, and we get hurricane force winds. And we had a bad one December 21st, 2018. It was about the first day of winter, and it did cause considerable damage on our island, especially on Salt Spring Island. And thank God it missed us here on the north end. We're very fortunate. Yes, I'm Hungarian. Good for you, man. Hungarians are great people. I'm Italian, Ukrainian. Dad's Italian, and whole side of the family's Italian. Mom's Ukrainian. But her mom was born here. My mom was born here, and her mom's mom, I think, came from the Ukraine. So it goes way back. Native to Southwest China and Burma. You know what, Jane? I'm going to look that up. I'm definitely going to look it up. JC47. Hey, Joe, I'm growing eucalyptus globulus. Do you think they would be that I potted up a while ago, but I don't know if there is any coming up of the globulus. You born in Hungary. That's cool. Yugoslavia. Stream cut off. No. My stream's still going. It says it's still going here. I should not be cut off. Looks like it doesn't see end stream. It's still going. There was a eucalyptus globulus, a Tasmanian blue gum growing in town for over 20 years. And guess what? They cut it down. I have videos of it here and on my other channel. They actually cut the thing. Massive tree. Massive. Absolutely beautiful. Too bad they cut the thing down. They said it was too messy or something. Senta. Rose gigantea is ancestor of the hybrid rose and flora. Oh, interesting. I'm going to look that up, Jane. Just like that green rose, which was pretty cool. But you know what? I don't think anybody sells green roses here. Stop rolling. Now it's back on. Okay. Which side of Italy is your dad from? Reggio Calabria, a town called Ardori. So here's the toe of the boot, and here's Sicily. They're looking right over at Sicily. They're right across the water from Sicily on the Mediterranean Sea. So it's a little town called Ardori, Ardore, in Reggio Calabria. Reggio di Calabria, okay? So as southern Italy as you can get. Where the mafia comes from, down in that area, Sicily in that area. So my side of the family is very dark and shorter. You know, my dad's oldest sister's still alive, and she's going to be 98 years old in a few days. And she still lives at home by herself. She's outlived my dad. She's outlived my dad's other sister, and she's going strong. I phoned her about a week or two ago, and we had a good chat. She says, "You know, Joey, I'm baking bread right now, and I phoned her earlier. I couldn't get her on the phone; it was just ringing. And I says, I tried calling you earlier, Auntie Mary. What were you up to?" And she says, "Out in the garden." She was gardening. She likes to garden, so she lives in South Vancouver. She's got an amazing vegetable garden, huge fig trees. Fig trees are massive. Planted them decades ago, 50 years ago. And she's got huge kiwis, vines loaded with kiwis, bumper crops of kiwis, and a big persimmon tree in her garden she planted 40 years ago. Big persimmon tree. She's a really keen gardener that lives in South Vancouver near Oak Ridge, in the same house that she moved into in 1968, Dave. My aunt moved into that house in 68. And then she moved from another house down the road that she moved into in 1948. So she's been in Vancouver a long time. She came to Vancouver in 1933 from southern Italy. So my dad was still in my Nana's tummy when they moved to Vancouver back in 1933. And then he was born in St. Paul Hospital in 1934. Which side of Italy is your dad from? Yeah, Naples. Yeah, cool. No, here, Nova Sad. No, near Novi Sad. Where is Lombardy? Where is Lombardy? I don't know where Lombardy is. I know what a Lombardy popular is. So trees. So Jane, I'm going to actually look up that rose. Okay, that sounds really cool. Loads of Italians still live with their parents, even in their 30s. Yeah, I moved out when I was young, man. I bought my first place when I was married at 22 the first time around, and I had a house. I'd already bought a house, and I bought my house from my parents. That's kind of funny. And so I bought them out, and I moved into their house, and they moved out. So I've been living on my own for a long time. But I was married young, and had kids young, and my kids are grown up. And then I got married second time around to Wendy, and we've been married coming up 4 years. My ex-wife is British, and Wendy is Scottish, Irish. Oh yeah, I know where Novi Sad is. I've never been to Europe. I'd like to go to Romania would be cool, Yugoslavia, Hungary, go down to the Black Sea, Bulgaria, got to go to Italy, got to go to Ireland. There's so many places I got to see. But you know what? I really don't want to travel right now. I mean, we even canceled our annual trip. I don't think traveling's the thing to do right now. And I got a friend, he actually wants to go on a cruise or something next spring, and I'd be a bit weary about going on a cruise, especially a cruise. How do you think the cruise lines are doing right now, folks? They got to be hurting, right? Cruise lines, I bet you they are hurting big time, and I feel sorry for them. I've been on 4 cruises, and I absolutely had a blast. And if I could, I'd go on another cruise again, but not right now. This is not the time. I did one Western Caribbean, and then I did 3 to Alaska, and I loved them all. I loved the Alaska cruise especially. How much would a cruise be from California to Hawaii? I don't know. There's cruises from Vancouver to Hawaii. The thing is, and I know people that have done that, and it's great when you go to Hawaii because you go to all the different ports. But there's nothing between Vancouver or California, San Francisco, or Los Angeles and Hawaii. You got this big gap of ocean to the Central Pacific. So, but I mean, there's lots to do on a cruise ship, right? There's lots to eat. There's lots of entertainment. I'm thinking it takes 5 days. I'm thinking it takes about 5 days, right, to get there, or 4 or 5 days at least. We're going to say 5 days to get to. It's 2,666 miles from the Central Pacific, from the North Pacific. So from our islands to Central Pacific, we're in the North Pacific. It is about 2,666 miles. So from here to fly to there, it's about 5 and a half hours to fly. So I think a cruise would probably take about I think it would take about 5 days, and it'd probably cost you. I mean, per person's probably be yeah. I bet you 1,000 per person or more. I'm going to say maybe 1,200 a person, 1,500 a person. Let's say 1,500 a person. So, hey Joe, did you plant the first trachea in the island? No, 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 no. There was already tracheas here, Sandra. The oldest palms on our island were planted in the 1960s. Okay, mid 1960s. I've added a lot more since I've been here. I started planting them here in 1989. And no, there's always been palm trees. There's just a lot more palm trees now. Okay, so they were in private gardens, but you never really saw any in the public landscape. The only 2 I knew of in the public landscape were in front of the Lady Minto Hospital, and they were planted in 1984. And there's 2, a male and a female, and they're really big palm trees. I know who planted them. They're absolutely gorgeous. Fig tree grown beside them. So about 15 years ago or so, I planted a eucalyptus, one of my seed grown eucalyptus in front of the hospital, and it's getting quite big. Some cordylines growing there too, big ones. Yeah, the biggest palm I know on this island and oldest, well, not the biggest, but the oldest was planted around 1965, then 68. There's one I know where, and then there's 1970. So there are some old palms here, and then lots that were planted late 70s, early 80s. I think I'd love those cruises. Yeah, they are good. And you know the nice thing about a cruise, all the food's included, right? And I'm not a big drinker. I'll have a beer on a hot day, but I don't drink on the cruises. So that's where you got to spend a lot of money if you're going to drink. Do you grow figs? Yeah. Oh, absolutely. There's a fig farm here. I just picked a fig this morning. Oh, I'm going to upload a fig video for you. I went to the fig farm yesterday down the road from us. They have about 180 fig trees there, different varieties. So yeah, we grow lots of figs here, big fig trees, old ones. I think the oldest one is about 90 years old that I know of. Hawaii life must be awesome. Never been, but oh, Hawaii's awesome. Just awesome. You would love it, man. It's one of my favorite places. Do you grow figs? Yeah, we grow figs on Salt Spring Island. Many different types of figs. I believe ours. Well, we have a lot of fig trees in our own garden, and the one that I picked, I think, is La Tarula. It might be an Italian honey fig. Hi, Joe. I sprouted some Butia capitata seeds. Several of the seeds are putting on. Oh yeah, nice, nice. Uh, Sweet. 2 shoots. Yep, sometimes you will get 2 shoots on them. Plant those babies up. That is pretty awesome. I have seen it. It's It's rare, but it does happen. Figs can grow in Honolulu. There's one across. You know what? I have seen figs there, but not a lot of them. I see more avocados and mangoes than anything, but I have seen figs growing in Hawaii. I love fig trees. Where in Hawaii would you recommend to stay? Well, we go to Maui now. Okay, so after 20 times of going to the island of Oahu, in the winter of 2012, November 2012, Wendy booked a trip to Maui. And so she went for 3 weeks and she says, Joe, why don't you come out and join me? So she was a week into her trip. Was she a week into the trip? No, she was 2 weeks into the trip. 1 week into the trip. Sorry, she stayed 3 weeks. She was 1 week into the trip. And then I came out and joined her for a week. And that was my first taste of Maui. So we always go to Maui now. And she stayed another week after that. She stayed 3 weeks. So we stay in Kihei, Maui, because it's a dry area, about 9 inches of rain annually. And you're guaranteed that you're going to always have nice weather there. And it's nice and laid back. Hawaiians don't really like that. No, they don't. That is the truth, man. Hawaiians do have a grudge against Americans. And I asked them, I said, what is it with Americans? I mean, I have a lot of great American friends, man. One of our best friends, he's from Baltimore, and we meet up with him in Maui every year, and we do sand art together. Greatest guy in the world. And he just moved to Olympia, Washington in June. And he's been here. He stayed with us. And but they are really bitter towards them because, well, you have to look at the history of Hawaii, and I think that's what it is. We have a lot of Hawaiians that live on our island. You know that. I've told you that before, and I tell people that stay here because we have a Hawaiian themed B&B, and many of our first settlers here were from the Hawaiian Islands, and they settled on Russell Island, a little island south off of the south part of Salt Spring, and then 25 of them settled at Fulford Harbor on the south end of Salt Spring Island. And the oldest church on our island was built by the Hawaiians, and it is a Hawaiian graveyard. It's an amazing piece of history there, and there's a beautiful marble plaque there that tells you about the Hawaiians, and there's Hawaiian writing on it, and then there's a plaques on the side of the church that tells you about the Kanakas and all the graves. There's Mrs. B&B Cleaner right there. There she is, right there. She is working hard. And there's the really neat because they have puka shells around all the graves. And some of the graves actually have pictures of the people on the graves. And there's a direct descendant of King Kamehameha in there, William Nakana. He's in there. I see videos every year of Hawaii. Yeah, I know they want to separate. I don't know if that'll ever happen. It was the kingdom of Hawaii, right? I don't know if that'll ever happen. I watch videos on it too. It's a sad way, the way it was taken over. I'll tell you that. They imprisoned the queen in her palace, Iolani Palace. I've been there to the palace. Yeah, I know. I get along great with the Hawaiians as long as you respect the Aina and the people. I have no problem with it. I like the Hawaiian culture, and I love the stories they tell me. They're very spiritual people, and they have a lot of stories. If you know, yeah, I know Hawaiian history really well, Jane, and it is. It is. I mean, just think about it. Their land was taken away from them. They were taken by force, and that's very, very sad. And the Hawaiian people are very good people, and a lot of poverty now because of it. And look what has happened to the place. It's very commercialized, and well, unfortunately, it's like a lot of other places you go in the South. There's McDonald's here and here and here. So it, well, I do like to go to Kihei, and I do like to go to some of the areas that maybe aren't so commercialized. When you go to Paia and some of the other places, the older parts of Hawaii are quite nice. And I do love talking to the Hawaiians and listening to the stories they have to tell. And here on Salt Spring Island, I talk to the Hawaiians and they tell me the history of the Hawaiians here and their descendants that are buried in the graveyard. I was talking to one of them, Rollins, last week, and he was telling me about the graves that are actually under the road. They put a road over top of the graveyard, and that's definition of the graves. It still upsets them, and those graves have been there since the 1800s. I'm not anti-American, no. You know what? I just say everybody's blood's the same color. There are jerks in every nationality. I mean, there's a lot of jerks in Canada too, and I have a lot of American friends, and we have a lot of Americans that stay here too, but not this year, unfortunately. What's with the population of Hawaii? There's a lot of people in Hawaii, man. It depends what island you go to. The biggest population is going to be in Honolulu. We'll tell you that, on the island of Oahu. The next would be Maui, and then next after that would probably be Kauai, and then maybe the Big Island. Big Island might be next, and then least populated islands would be Lanai, Niihau, and Molokai. And Niihau you can't really go to unless you are Hawaiian. And you have to be a pure Hawaiian to go to the island of Niihau. My cousin lived there for 10 years on the island, the Big Island, and he lived on Sunset Beach and on Oahu. And he's been to every single island. He even went to a Niihau with his boat. He was a deep sea. He was a fisherman. He'd take people out fishing for marlin and stuff, and he taught scuba over there. And he landed on the shores of Niihau, he said, and he got his picture taken there doing the hang loose, which probably isn't a good thing. And he says he had, and then he hopped on the boat and they took off. Real estate in Hawaii is expensive. It's expensive here, even on the Pacific coast of Canada. Go to Victoria and Vancouver. Salt Spring Island is very expensive as well. Salt Spring Island real estate is crazy. And when I bought here, it wasn't, a few decades ago. When my mom and dad bought here in 1978, they bought 10 acres for $25,000. But back then, wages were less, so it's all relative. And that's what Dad used to say to me, Joe, it's all relative. You know what I mean? The wages were less, so real estate's going to be less, so it's inflation. But Jane will tell you, Hawaii is an expensive place to live. It's not that cheap. But you know what was interesting? When I was in Kihei, we have a goat cheese farm here, and they sell our goat cheese, Salt Spring Island goat cheese, at Foodland in Kihei. And Wendy would say, wouldn't that be cool? She said to me, wouldn't that be cool if they sold some of our goat cheese here? So I go over to the cheese section. I look down, got a video of it here. I don't miss a thing. And there's Salt Spring Island goat cheese, and it was actually cheaper. Hey, Wendy, remember it was about $1.
But it was on sale.
It was on sale, but it was still in American funds. But they had goat cheese, Salt Spring Island goat cheese they sell on Maui. So when I got back to Salt Spring, I see the owner of the goat cheese farm because I know him. I said, hey, Dave, I was on Maui and I saw your goat cheese, Salt Spring Island goat cheese at Foodland in Kihei on Maui. He says, yeah, we ship it to Maui. I go, that's pretty cool. And also the mussel farm here. There's a big shellfish farm here, and they ship their product to Hawaii as well. So I'm sure they sell the Salt Spring goat cheese on Oahu. Why my folks used to live in San Juan Island. How different. I've never been to San Juans, but we can see them from here. It's the same archipelago. Okay, you can see the San Juans, get up it higher, and you can see all the San Juan Islands. So same island chain, imaginary line that separates them. Same thing. You got Pacific Madronas, Manzanitas, and it's a way quiet way of living compared to the hustle and bustle of the mainland. They're dry, the islands, drier than the mainland. And because we're in a rain shadow, and just a really nice climate year round, wet winters and dry, warm spring and summers here. So it's the same. I hear is exactly the same as the San Juan Islands. They have a lot of islands down there. There's Orcas, there's San Juan, and there's a bunch of other ones. We have Galiano, North Pender, South Pender, which are joined by a little bridge, Saturna, Prevost, and Maine. So there's quite a few. And on Salt Spring, we're on the biggest of the Southern Gulf Islands here in the most west of the Southern Gulf Islands. I know a cherry species that don't need frost. Hey, we grow cherries. We grow Guatemalan cherry, Jane, and we have one in our garden. It's evergreen, and it's a perfectly hardy cherry here. I planted it as a seedling. It's getting quite big. I had to prune it. Hi, Joe. I moved to Whidbey. I know where that is. I love it. On the radio station, I listen to 92.9 KASM, Bellingham, Washington. Brad and John every morning. Once in a while, they have Whidbey Island 911 calls. They're hilarious to listen to. I love it. And I know where Whidbey Island is. Thanks for all the great videos. Thank you very much. Whidbey Island. Yeah, I'd like to visit there. I've been to Seattle many times, and I haven't been to Whidbey Island yet. There's a bridge, I think, that goes to Whidbey Island, right? Correct? There's no bridge that goes to any of the San Juans, and there's no bridge that goes to the Gulf Islands here. There is a ferry that goes from Sydney on Vancouver Island by Swartz Bay to the San Juan Islands. So you can get from Canada to the San Juans. You can also get to Port Angeles from Victoria. There she is. See this basket? That's going up to the accommodations. Remember, you ever want to stay in Salt Spring, Wendy runs a great accommodation. We have two of them, Magnolia Petal and Arbutus Blossom. Yeah, I don't know if it's a true cherry or not, Guatemala. It flowered. I don't know. I have to go check and see there's some fruit on. I think it does produce edible fruit, though, Jane, correct? You can Google it if you want. You probably know about it. A guy gave me a little plant. I stuck it in, and now it's this tree. It's been there for, I guess, 12 years, something like that. And it seems to be doing okay. The same guy also gave me a Mexican long needle pine. Yes, the bridge crosses from Deception Pass. Anacortes, right. Anacortes, I've been there, too. Okay, right on. Yeah, that's right. No, I've never been to Whidbey Island. I think that's someplace I would like to go. It's a pretty good-sized island. I think it's way bigger than Salt Spring. Salt Spring Island is 16.7 miles in length, about 6 or 9 miles at the base. I heard 9. Some people say it's 6. And I've read it was 9 though. So 9 miles at the bottom and very narrow where we live on the point here. Prunus is a subtropical cherry. I wonder if that would work here, Jane. Campanulata. I have to look that one up too. So you give me, oh, geez, I got to write that down. I got to write that down. I got to grab my pen. Hang on, people. Hang on, people. Hang on. Let me see what we got here. Prunus campanulata. I got to write that down. Sorry about that. So let me write that down. Prunus campanulata. Panulata. And Rosa gigantea. See, Jane's giving me these things to look up. There we go. I will look those up, Jane, and see if they will work in our climate. And even if they have half a chance in our climate, I will grow them. Nice state. Washington, the evergreen state. Washington is a great state. I love Oregon too. And I also love northern coastal California. Really beautiful place and really nice vegetation. You grow so much stuff in coastal Washington and very much like here, the weather, the climate. And yeah, I've been to Seattle many times. I was on a garden tour one time in Seattle, Palm Society garden tour. And 1997, I went down there. There's lots of cool gardens to see. How much did your B&B? They $200 a night for the one down below here that comes off to the exotic lanai. Got your own parking lot, got your own lanai, and you have your own self-contained room. And the one up top, the tiny house, I think it's a bit less. I think it's 189 or something like that for the tiny house. And you can see them online. Go to booking.com. There's Magnolia Petal accommodation, Salt Spring Island, and there's also Arbutus Blossom accommodation. So they're on booking.com, and she's also got Facebook page, Magnolia Petal accommodation. So you can see that, and you can also see the pictures. She runs it. She looks after it. That's her thing. I mean, a lot of times when I get home from work, if people have checked out, I will clean it up for her and get it ready. But she does everything else. They're her B&B. She owned a B&B long before we got together, and she had 3 rooms up Ganges Hill, Monterey B&B, named after some place in Ireland. Is the full moon tonight, Jules? I hope it is, and I hope I'm awake. I tell you what, Jules, I'm in bed usually by 9 o'clock because I get up before 5 a.m. every morning. Even on weekends, I'm up pretty early. Today, I slept in a little bit. I think I was up at 4 in the morning, and I put on a video on my other YouTube channel, and then I went back to bed. We saw the moon, Jupiter, and Saturn. Sweet, baby. You know what? That's awesome. I love looking at stars. It's so dark here at night because there's no lights around us. So you look up into the sky and you see the star-filled universe. It's just awesome how massive that universe is. And you wonder if there's somebody up there on a planet looking down or looking out saying, man, there's so many stars out there. And, you know, we're on this other planet down here. You wonder, right? It's pretty cool. I love looking at the stars. And if I'm up, I will have to catch that full moon, Jules. Thank you for letting me know. I love eclipses too. Eclipses are pretty cool. That's beautiful to star watch, to stargaze. I like to watch satellites go by too. Prunus campanulata will flower well in Hawaii. Winter is in the 60s and 50s. 50s, you must be wearing a fur coat, Jane. You are probably freezing your hiney off in the 50s. If it gets down to the 50s, that is cold in Hawaii. But I guess if you're up a little bit higher, yeah, it's expected. It gets colder, higher elevations up country on Maui. And a matter of fact, last year, it was in February, they did get a skiff of snow up on top of Haleakala on Maui because I watched a YouTube video of it. Now, don't mind you, it wasn't very much snow. There's a little bit of snow, and it never lasts that long, but it does, and it can snow on top of Haleakala on Maui. And it's never snowed. I doubt it has ever snowed anywhere on Oahu. Even the highest peaks on Oahu are not comparable to Haleakala or Mauna Kea or Mauna Loa on the Big Island, right? There's some high ones, I think, on Kauai, but the one on, and I've been up there, I have videos of us up on top of Haleakala on Maui. It's about 10,300 feet. And when I went up there, it was flipping cold. I had my shorts and flip-flops on because that's what I wear. I wear that here. I live in shorts and flip-flops. I'm not lying. Here we go. See, shorts. See, and can you see me? There. Shorts, flip-flops. I live in shorts and flip-flops here, and I wear shorts every day at work too. So I went up there not thinking it would be that cold, and we got blown away. The wind was blowing. It was cold. And I'm thinking, why am I up on top of this mountain when I come from Canada and I'm visiting Hawaii and I should be soaking up the warmth? It's wintertime and I was freezing my hiney off there. But I did make a couple of videos. It was just a bunch of lava rock. And I'll go up there to see the sunrise. And I'm not going to get up at 3 in the morning and drive all the way up there. You know, I'll just watch it on YouTube. But it is beautiful in its own way. And the view up there is pretty spectacular. Waimea Big Island has cherry blossom fest. That is pretty cool. Waimea Big Island has cherry blossom. We have a blossom festival here in April. Was it in April? Yeah, it was. No, it was a little bit later. It was beginning of May, and by that time, all the cherry blossoms are long gone. Cherry trees start to bloom here in January on Salt Spring Island. So, and you can see my videos of it here. I'm not BSing you. I capture everything. That's why I shoot videos every day, so you can see what it's like here every day of the year. So cherry trees start to bloom here early January, certain species of them, and by May they're already done. And so Blossom Festival comes along, the Japanese Blossom Festival, and all the cherry trees are already done. Yeah, isn't that crazy? Prunus autumnalis is the earliest one here, and daffodils start to bloom here in early January as well, certain areas of the island. I have an ISD tab. I don't know what that is. IST tab upstairs. I'm not too sure what an ISD is. I'm sure it's some type of palm tree, right? That's bizarre. I guess you grow different species of them too, though. Like we grow Prunus quanzan, Prunus bleriana, Prunus bassardi nigra. Those are plums, and quanzan is the double cherry, and we have some beautiful ones here. There, absolutely. It's a psychedelic. Psychedelic. Oh, okay. Kind of like psilocybin. Those magic things. Yeah, those grow around here too. Prunus campanulata is early bloomer. Interesting. I do like them. The thing with deciduous trees for me in the wintertime, though, they don't look like much. They look like they look like they're dead. And I do appreciate them with their flowers. But when I look at a deciduous tree in the wintertime, unless it's got really unusual bark, like a Stuartia pseudocamellia or something, it doesn't look very good to me. I like plants that keep their leaves on them. But yet I do appreciate the large leaf Magnolia macrophyllum. We have that. And I do like Albizia julibrisum, the silk trees, and I do like fig trees. So they're deciduous. I also like crepe myrtle. Not a lot of people grow crepe myrtle here, but there are some on our island. Wow, I'm sure you saw a lot of stuff when you took those. Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure you would see a lot of things. Maybe a lot of things you probably don't want to see, or maybe things you do want to see. Makes the imagination go wild. Yeah, I was going to say, so the deciduous trees we grow in our garden, Jane, we grow, Wendy has some magnolias, and she likes Japanese maples. And I'm trying to think what else is deciduous. We don't grow a lot, and fig trees. We don't grow a lot of deciduous plants here. Most of the stuff we grow is BLE, broadleaf evergreens. So when I see BLE, it just means I don't want to say broadleaf evergreen. BLE, broadleaf evergreen. So if I talk about that in my comments or something, it's a broadleaf evergreen, and it's something that has a broadleaf on it, like a Portuguese laurel or a eucalyptus, and they keep their leaves year round. So they look nice even on a winter day. So when you look over there, that looks exactly the same. So I'm going to do a live stream here in the winter on a nice sunny day, and it's going to look exactly the same as it does now. You know, I might not be wearing this t-shirt, but I might be wearing this t-shirt. I'll probably be wearing a sweatshirt. And yeah, you can wear shorts here in the wintertime, but I like to wear a sweatshirt. I'm the same way about evergreens. Yeah, I don't know. They just make me feel very cold. Looking at deciduous trees in the wintertime make me feel colder. So around us, we have a lot of broadleaf evergreen. We have the large Pacific madrona trees native, and then we have conifers. We have Douglas fir. Most of our island is a Douglas fir, western red cedar, a grand fir, balsam, and western hemlock, and there's Pacific yew. And we have manzanita as well. The only pine, we have very few pine trees that grow only up on tops of the mountain. You don't see any native pine trees growing around here. And then we have large leaf maples, and then there's a cutoff point at elevation where they stop. So I have some beautiful large leaf maple here, and they're deciduous, but they're surrounded by so many conifers, you don't even tell the difference in the winter when they lose their leaves. And there's a massive one here and in the back of our property, and it is absolutely gorgeous. And when they flower, the bees love the flowers. Aloha to everybody out there. Exoteric garden, most completely distinct huge perennials too. Perennials are awesome. They are beautiful. Yeah, I'm on Twitter as well. Prunus companion keep some of their leaves. Yeah, there are like Jacaranda mimosifolia is kind of a tree that loses its leaves in Hawaii, right? So it blooms and then it gets its leaves. And there's a big one right where I park our car at our condo on Maui, and it's quite a messy tree. But Jacaranda mimosifolia, I believe they're native to Brazil, is an absolutely beautiful deciduous tree with gorgeous tropical looking soft leaves like a mimosa. There used to be a lot of Western white pine. Yeah, we have those on top of the mountain with shore pine. We have white pine. Oh, we also have Gary oak, Quercus garryana. They're native here too. Um, Salt Spring, Vancouver. Yeah, we have them. There are very few of them on tops of the mountains, and we have shore pine. We actually do have a shore pine in our garden. Somebody gave me years ago as a baby, and it's quite a big tree. Yeah, I enjoy few tall deciduous trees because yeah. No, I'm the same way. You know what? I like all plants. I like native plants. I like exotic plants, and we basically incorporate the native plants with the exotic plants. So there's one section of our lower garden. We have palm trees growing with western sword fern, salal, and mahonia, and there's some maple trees over there, and there's some Douglas fir, and there's some grand fir or balsam fir, or whatever, and they're all growing happily together, and they look really right at home with the native trees at the Trachycarpus palms. And even here, these Trachycarpus palms are growing under a big Pacific madrona tree. There is a Judas tree right there, that big tree that's towering above them. And same with over at the tiny house, huge 100+ foot madrona trees with palms growing underneath them, and I think they look absolutely awesome. I think it's the way to go. It really is. It looks really natural. I do like the natural look myself. I suppose even if I lived in the city, I think I'd have the natural look too. And a lot of exotic gardens are like that. They're very natural looking, where you don't have straight edges or landscape ties or anything. And Wendy's right into the same thing. She likes the natural look. She's got a keen eye for. Oh, I'm talking about you again. She's got a keen eye. We got to go out soon. So I'm going to go to 1 minute. We're going to head. I got to put my bike away, and then we're supposed to go see somebody's garden. So I'm going to shoot a video of that garden, and I'll put it on here. And I'm going to upload the video of the fig farm when I get back. Looks similar to Petasites. Oh, what is it, Jane? Give me the dirt. I got it down. We also have native arbutus. Oh, wow. Cool. We have lots of arbutus unito here because they're planted. We have big 20-foot plus ones behind our house I planted decades ago, loaded with fruit. We have 2 of them there. And then we have another couple in the other gardens. And these ones are pretty good arbutus strawberry trees growing in rock under a big eucalyptus tree. Very low maintenance. Does the Canadian South Pacific have any well, we're not South Pacific. We are North Pacific. And nope, the only native palms you will find here were native millions of years ago, and they're called fossils. We have palm fossils here. You can watch my videos here on palm fossils on Salt Spring Island. The ironic thing about it, where they are on this rock face right in town, there's palm trees growing in front of the palm fossils. I kid you not. There's Trachycarpus palms growing right in front of the palm fossils. So somebody reforested with palm trees in front of the palm fossils. And those palms were laying down. That rock was laying down one time millions of years ago, and they're squished up. They were fan palms. Yeah. So there's you can see the palm fossils in the rock. It's pretty cool. So that's the only palms you will find around here, and that was long before any of us around. There's probably some dinosaurs here, and maybe some cavemen or something on Salt Spring Island. Joe's white dreamy eyes 14. Joe. Dave. I gotta write that down. Jane. Far. Oh, I know that name. I've heard of it. Jane, you're giving me far few, lots of good plant names here. Japonicum. So we know that is native to Japan. All right. Thanks, Jane. Okay, so we're just about coming into 1 minute. I'm going to back on out of here because I have to get out of here and go visit someone's garden. And I'm going to show you their that they dug out from the palm farm. There's a big palm farm on the south end of our island that field grows palm trees, okay? Been there quite a long time. They buy a lot of their palms from me. I've sold them a couple of truckloads of my smaller ones. They field grow them like people do Christmas trees. And if you want a palm with a 4-foot trunk or so, you can dig them, and then they'll put them in their tractor bucket, move them to your vehicle, and then you take them home. So 2 of the palms they got from the palm farm. All right, thanks, guys. Cheers, and thank you so much for commenting. Thanks, Jane, for all the information. Yes, we have to meet you sometime. And when I meet Jane, I'm going to bring you a sticker from Salt Spring Island. It has our islands on it. Wendy's creates stickers, and they sell them in our gallery. They sell a lot of the stickers in the stores here on Salt Spring Island. It is a bald eagle with the islands incorporated into its wings. And then there's another one that says Aloha A, Canada's Hawaiian Island, Salt Spring Island. All right, look forward to seeing this garden you were describing. Yeah, so it's a big vegetable garden they have, but and I don't know how great the garden is, but they have some palm trees, so I'm going to focus in on the palms, okay, that were transplanted there 2 years ago. They dug them out from the palm farm. Glad the stream lasted for a minute. It didn't die out. Seems like the internet's working okay right now. All right, cheers and aloha to all of you. Stay safe out there. Bye, Dave, Sander, the Toby, Josh, and White with Dreamy Eyes. That's Dave. And everybody else out there. Jane, aloha. Stay safe out there. And go have a malasada for me at Leonard's Bakery. And have a piece of banana cheesecake at the Cheesecake Factory. Oh, they got good pasta too. All right. And maybe something to do on noodle. I like eateries. I like to eat. And I love the food places in Waikiki. And also I like the food court at Ala Moana. We go to Mama's Pasta. They got good pasta there. All right. See you later. Cheers to you all. And remember, next first Friday of every month, I do a live stream. So next Friday, I think I'm heading off to the Big Island, but when I get back, I'll do a live stream. Cheers and aloha. Bye now.